Good evening, everybody. So it's 8 o'clock, and we may be called Filipino time, but we like starting on time. So might ask my one of my co-hosts, Francis, to start the presentation real quick. Okay, so welcome everybody to Filipino Time Live 2021. Thanks everybody for joining us. We hope you are all doing well and staying safe in this difficult time. We do miss interacting with everybody, and I guess this is our chance to make up for lost time. It's been a year since our last live event, so we felt it was great timing to do it today. First of all, I'd like to do a special shout out for the most active members of the Filipino Time community over the past month. I'm not sure if you guys are here, but shout out to Carlos Chua, Wallace Medina, Theo Tep, Gus Santa Cruz, and Rafael Perez. We're always very thankful for all you guys that are keeping the community alive. Thank you for posting and sharing and interacting with everybody else. We also want to welcome our new moderator for the Filipino Time community, Mr. Peter Bakay, who is volunteering his time to help us grow the community as well. So thanks, Peter. Of course, I got to thank our sponsors. So first sponsor for tonight's event is Seiko Philippines. So thank you, Seiko Philippines. So you can actually log on to www.seikoboutique.com.ph and actually order a watch from there. There's a portal actually for both Seiko and Grand Seiko. So whichever one you want, you can browse, you can see the prices there, and you can order as well. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Seiko Philippines. We're also happy to be one of the ones to announce the newly launched SeikoClocks.ph. So not just watches, you know that Seiko has their clocks too, and we're going to be raffling off a few of them tonight. So thank you to SeikoClocks.ph. Once again, follow them on Facebook and Instagram at SeikoClocksPH. Next, we have an active member of our community, actually, Royal Trinity. So Royal Trinity, they do some excellent watch straps as well as watch rolls. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of the posts with it. Fed has a couple and he's pretty happy with them. So you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Royal Trinity. So thanks, Royal Trinity. Then we have timecheck.ph. So timecheck.ph, they do restorations and repairs on watches. You can check them out at www.timecheck.ph and on Facebook at The Real Timecheck PH and Instagram at timecheck.ph. So a couple of non-watch brands supporting us tonight. The first, of course, is Aguila Auto Glass. So we turned 69 years this year and are on the road to 70. So need glass, dial 863 glass. Check us out at www.aguilaautoglass.com and on Facebook and Instagram. Last but not least, of course, is Auto Performance PH, the official partner of Brembo in the Philippines. Once again, website is www.autoperformanceph.com. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram as well. So while the pandemic has been difficult for everybody, it's actually been quite difficult for us as well. It's quite hard to create content nowadays. And I know that that pales in comparison to some of the hardships that other people are dealing with. But we just wanted to explain, let you guys know why there's not a lot of activity going on. Of course, it's quite hard to do the face-to-face interviews for our flagship program, which is What Makes Them Tick. Can't really travel, so no real watch shopping videos either. And even just the daily adjustments make it hard to, collaborate and meet up and do a lot of content. But we are trying to find more ways to give you more content, both on social media and as well as YouTube. So we're now doing daily posts on Filipino Time, Facebook, and Instagram. And actually, more than anything is we want to thank the people that have graciously allowed us to share their photos. So thanks, guys, for keeping the community active. And to those guys that have let us use their photos, which are all properly credited, let us know if we didn't. But thank you guys for letting us share your photos and again, keeping the community alive. So if you haven't yet, follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And well, I'm pretty sure you guys are all part of the Facebook community. We do also have a marketplace that you can join. So for the videos, yes, there are no more live events, but we're trying to come up with new segments. We're trying to revamp our What Makes Them Tick interviews, bring you new unboxing formats and lots more. We're actually quite thankful for all the guys that have given us real good comments in the survey that we gave for tonight's event. So lots of great stuff there. We're still sifting through them and trying to find out what are the best ways to give you content that you guys will like. So yeah, new stuff coming soon, One of the things we've been working on as well is the relaunch of our website. So we did a little bit of tinkering, did a bit of facelifting, and you can now log on to www.filipinotime.ph. It's basically a hub for all things Filipino time. You can our video stream there. We've got feeds to our social media accounts. We have a few articles there by, well, us. And most exciting actually is that we have the Filipino Time store coming soon. So one of the things we're launching tonight actually is the Filipino Time -T, which I hope you guys have seen on Facebook or in the community. So I'm actually wearing one right now, and it's really comfy. This is US market grade 100% cotton. It's limited edition. It's limited to 100 pieces. I know you guys love we love limited editions. And it retails for 500 pesos. But since you guys are here tonight, you guys get 10% off, and you can get it at 450 pesos. How to order it? Just send us a message on Facebook. Give us your size. We can take care of the order from there and give you the details. But definitely we can look forward to more merch and more watch accessories coming soon. So check the website out. I think you can also subscribe to that as well, but we'll definitely be announcing stuff in the community as well as on our social media pages. So at this time, I want to hand the reins over to the moderator of tonight's event. He is one of the co-founders and one of our hosts. I guess you guys know him well, and he's my big brother, Francis Aguila. So Francis, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ferds. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thanks again to everyone who's here, and thank you, well, to our sponsors, and thank you to these guys I'm about to introduce for sharing their time and their knowledge and their humor and their good-naturedness with us tonight to sort of bring this community together. So we have a great panel lined up for you guys, all from the Filipino Time community. I'm sure you've known these guys from their posts or from their reputations and from their good reputations, of course, and from their watches. So first, I'd like to introduce, he's well known for his especially vintage pieces, and my personal favorites, the ukiyo-es that I love learning about. His episode on the Filipino Time YouTube channel is one of the most popular of the bunch. And he's a returning panelist, Mr. Paul D. Hi, Paul.
Hi, everyone.
So next, I'd like to introduce, someone who's quite well known in the Filipino Time community. He loves to post lots of watches, really beautiful watches. He's a lawyer, a glamour photographer, and an avid traveler and collector of iconic timepieces. Please welcome attorney Archie Gonzalez. Hi, Arch.
Hey, Chief. Good evening, everyone.
And next up is Mr. President, as we like to call him, El Presidente, the president of the Seiko Watch Club Philippines. El Presidente, Mr. Sport, and the guy who has shared his new fitness journey with us throughout the pandemic, Mr. Dino Fabian. Hi, Mr. Dino Fabian. How are you doing?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
And of course, last but not least, our co-founder and co-host, I'm Ferdy's big brother. He's our big kuya cousin, Mr. Fed Borromeo. Hi, Fed.
Hey, Francis. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. TGIF.
All right, so we have a great panel for you guys tonight. And before we start with everything, I actually wanted to ask everyone, well, let's do a wrist check. Let's start with Paul. What's on your wrist tonight?
Okay, tonight, wait, there you go. I'm wearing an Alba Riki Watanabe automatic watch. It's one of the less known watches by Riki Watanabe. It took me. It's actually my first purchase for this year. I tried not to buy watches that much last year, but when I saw this one come out, I just had to get it. So I've had it since I think early this year, and I love it. The aesthetic is perfect for me. It's clean, it's crisp. You can use it for work. You can use it when you go out, and I can't wait to go out with it when everything's okay again.
All right, Arch, what do you have on your wrist tonight?
Yeah, hello. Tonight I'm wearing my latest pickup. It's an SLA 017. I got this in a new old stock condition recently. So it was offered by a good friend. So yeah, I think ticks all of the boxes, at least as far as my collection journey goes. So it has a classic design. I love the size, and it's just beautiful. So
I think that's the one you shared with us in the community, right?
yeah, earlier today.
Congrats.
Thanks,
So
boss.
you and Paul both with the new pieces. How about you, Dino? How are you? What's on your wrist tonight?
I have a MM300. So I've had this for quite a while now. I used to have one, and then I sold it, and then I felt bad for letting it go. So, I kind of missed it. So hinanap ko siya. I looked for it. And then when I found it, I said, it's like, I'm not gonna let it go again. So it's one of those pieces that I'll keep talaga. Some people say for keeps, for keeps, but a few years they'll just let it go. But this one for me is really something I'd probably take with me until my old age, and pass it on to my kids, because it's really a tough watch. It's really it looks intimidating when as in seeing it for the first time, seeing that you might think it looks big, it looks chunky, but when you put it on your wrist, it just feels right, as in the weight. Some people say it's kind of heavy and all that, but you kind of know where the weight is coming from, the way it's built like a tank. So if ever you really actually want to go diving with it, you wouldn't even feel like any worries about getting water into it or anything like that, unless you forget to screw the crown. That's your fault.
But Dino, I have to say, I'm disappointed it's not a sport tonight. I'm disappointed.
It's here. Para hindi magselos.
Wait, all three are there or isa lang?
No naman. Nakatago.
How about you, Fed? What's on your wrist tonight?
I'm wearing my modern root beer. Actually, this is, well, I guess I have to say, my favorite watch in my collection. I remember seeing the original root beers back when I was a kid, and I said, wow, that's something that I would really want to have. So fortunately, I was able to pick one up a few years back. And actually, Ferds always complains, sabi niya, dami naman gas-gas. I said, wala, favorite it eh. So that's what I'm wearing tonight.
That's great. Well, on my wrist naman, well, tonight I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see, Timex, somehow it got weird, sorry. A cute time, okay, my video went weird.
That's cool, that's cool.
There you go. I went neon. I'm wearing a Q Timex 1979 Pepsi. It's my year 1979, even though it's a reissue. So it's a gift from my siblings for my 41st birthday. So I'm quite happy to have it on tonight. All right, so let's get into some of the things that got you guys started into watch collecting. Because one of the things that we always talk about, and I noticed there whenever I meet people, is they always ask, "How'd you get into it? What started you off on this journey?" And what's your story? But it always goes back to what's your story. So Arch, do you want to lead us off? How did you get into watch collecting? When did you start, and how did it get this far?
Yeah, sure, Chief. In my case, I started sometime in 2015. I have this friend from work, and during that time, I just had one watch. It was this quartz watch that I had since college, and then this friend of mine, he kept bugging me, Archie, you should stop wearing that quartz watch of yours. You should upgrade to something mechanical. And then he would always visit my office, and then he would show me his wristwatch. And then during that time, our office was at the Enterprise Center, so it was like walking distance from Greenbelt. So he would bring us there, and then we'd visit the different boutiques. And then he asked me to join this local website, and I got my first watch from that website's marketplace. It was a JLC Master Ultra Thin 41.
Wow, nice start.
Yeah, but I sold it already because I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't ask people about my first purchase, and I regretted that. This even if it looked really nice on paper and in the photos, at the end of the day it felt too big on my wrist, and then even though it was like ultra thin, it didn't really sit that well. So
Archie, is he still your friend?
yeah, yeah, he's still around. That's how I started.
Actually, I was gonna say na-hurt yung Timex ko sa story yun Na-hurt yung quartz ko.
But I can see Paul D wants to say something about quartz.
Paul, please take it away, Paul. Take it away.
Nothing bad about quartz. They're the most accurate watches in the world. Okay, if that's your thing. I mean, I guess all of us started with quartz at one point. I mean, my first watch was a quartz. Okay, that's when I started watches. I was in grade 7. For my graduation, my grandparents gave me a watch. It was a Benetton watch, which was uso at the time.
Wow, yeah.
Very popular. I still have it now. Battery died, and that's my problem with quartz watches. If you forget about it, and one day, hey, I remember I have that watch. Open it up, even though you kept it in a safe, dry place. When you open it up, oh no, it stopped working because the battery leaked. Okay, so for practical reasons, if you have more than one watch, if you have a lot of watches, quartz is a little bit tricky. So I graduated to wanting automatics. About collecting, well, in high school, I didn't really have the funds to buy watches. So it's basically whatever I'd be given. My dad gave me back then was a Tag Heuer, also quartz watch. I still have it with me until now. And I love watches because of that watch. Okay, because I guess everyone had a tag at the time. Well, at least where I was. It was the watch that you had, because none of us could really afford Rolexes, or none of us would be given a Rolex by your parents. So everyone would have the tag. Yeah. And then the design was good. It was a screw down crown, 200 meters. I could play sports with it. I could swim with it. It was wonderful. And the most important thing is it tells time. It tells time, and it tells time well, right? Quite accurately, because it's a quartz. But all in high school, there were a few people who had automatic watches, and well, my best friend in high school, he he had all automatic watches, and that's what I salivated about all the time because his watches were fantastic. But when the way that the hands sweep, it's just hypnotic. So I guess it changed my perception of what I wanted in a watch, not just accurate time, but something that you could stare at that for hours and hours and just be mesmerized and think, how does it do it? How does it how does it move so smoothly, and what works behind it?
Was there a
So
particular watch in the collection that you said that's the one for me? Like that you're talking about your friend's collection, right? Was there a particular one that you said that's the one?
uh I think it was a two-door Submariner
Wow.
back then. Yeah.
Wow.
A two-door
It's now with his
Submariner.
son.
Yes. I think we have the same friend.
Yeah.
So that the Tudor Submariner, and he also had a hand-me-down Rolex, Rolex Datejust, manual wind, I think.
It's with
With
the other son.
no, this is with him.
No? Okay.
Yeah, this one. What was so beautiful about this watch was it had the most beautiful patina, as in it aged so nicely, and it kind of got me excited about vintage because, oh, I mean, new watches, they all look the same, but this watch, the older it gets, the more beautiful it turns. So which probably uh made me want to explore the vintage watch world as well.
How about you, Dino? What do you how did you start?
Actually, when I was younger, like, all same as Paul, I'm really oblivious. All you needed was something to tell the time accurately, which is, I think, what many people right now when they're collecting, they forget it. What's the point, you know, to get to tell time accurately? So, in school, we used to have those GoBots watches
Yes.
that transform into
I was
robots.
waiting for someone to mention that. Yes.
Yeah, yung mga favorite pa nun, in grade school, the one that turns into a airplane, ayan, yung mga ganyan. And the other one's the regular robot. Kasi talaga yung staple yun, inggitan. So, yeah, grade school, and ako na sabi ko, gusto ko rin ng ganun, pabili rin ako na everything. So, all throughout, it was just something, I got used to wearing quartz watches then also, but I never paid mind to it. It's more of a toy than a timepiece, because I was always late for class. So anyway, and then I guess later on when I was working, that's when I started. Actually, I don't know why. I just got into like G Shocks, and so and I wanted something that I can low maintenance, as in something that you wouldn't have to worry about. Let Little did I know that there was like a subculture of G Shocks, and then when I was looking for a piece, it's like, whoa. And then there was like collectibles. So I guess that's what got me. It's the collectibles, the one that the thrill of the hunt. That's what
Yeah.
bit me. So, and then I was like, at that time, you can't get those collectibles kagad because we didn't have Facebook, wasn't marketplace, was didn't exist. Tapos groups pa noon were non-existent. So you just have to go through the Japan Yahoo auctions, risk it, and then that got me collecting stuff again until eventually siguro by mga around 2012 I was really into it na. And then I felt like, I kind of grew up from it. So by
Yeah.
around like 2015 I was like I think I saw a watch by a fellow collector in Philippine Watch Club. So I started browsing. So yun din yung gateway ko na to automatics. I'm just drooling at and then I saw the Seiko tuna, the baby tuna.
Was that your
And
first
then
Seiko? Was that your first Seiko? The baby
yeah, the baby tuna. Ayan. So it was one of those. Hinanap ko pa yun, pumunta pa ako ng. Then I saw somebody post it in Makati Cinema Square. So when somebody posted it, it's like I went to Makati na since I go,
Yeah,
ko na
yeah.
to. Ganyan. And then little did I know that there was a brother and a sister to that. I think Paul has the collection of those baby tunas na limited. So, ayun. So that got me going na. And then I guess it's a matter of like snowballing, you know.
Yeah.
And then you kind of tweak and refine your taste. Because usually before it's like you just go for what you want, and then you kind of realize, you know, parang, there are things I don't like, there are things I like. So hindi ka na, you're more discriminating. That's more of so you kind of hold yourself back now, and then you kind of realize what works for you may not work for other people, and what other people. So I don't pay mind. I don't mind other people's when they have this new watch, or really, if it's not for me, if it doesn't work for me, it's okay. And if I like something that other people don't like, I'm not offended. So because I kind of realized, the watch isn't for other people, it's for me. So for me to enjoy. So if I don't enjoy it, so why did I spend time looking for it, paying for it? So that's my story.
That sounds like what Archie said earlier about the JLC, right, Arch? Parang similar thing na just because it was so deep wasn't your thing, no?
Yeah. And then for me, it's boss. It's fit plays a very big role. If even if a watch is objectively nice, if it doesn't look good on my wrist, or if it doesn't fit, my personality or my clothes or my lifestyle, parang sayang lang.
That makes sense. Well, that sounds a lot like Mr. Federico. A lot of his watches are based on his lifestyle. How about your story, Sani? What's your story, Fed? What's your story?
Well, my first realization that I was in love with watches was when I was a little kid, and my dad had a 1973 Omega Seamaster 120, which is with me now, finally. Of course, it got really beaten up before I finally got it. But I guess that was where it started. I didn't have my own watch, so I would borrow it from him for a few minutes and whatever, and wear it. And then just like Dino, we went into the digital watches, the little Casios, the robots. But one thing I wanted to share, because Paul jumped ahead, way ahead into the tags, was the Swatch era.
Yeah.
My first watch was from your mom. It was red. And I said, this watch craze was really fun. And of course, after the swatches, then you go to I think the Tag Heuers and the G-Shocks were around the same time for me. But I really enjoyed the G-Shocks, just like Dino. And I think until today, well, personally, I still have a few G-Shocks in my collection because you still want to wear them. They're still really good watches to wear, and I prefer like the louder colors for G-Shocks because that's what they're about. They're about fun. And then I went into the Tag Heuers and into the other Swiss brands, but I really just got hooked on the Seikos. There are so many Seikos out there to choose from: vintage, modern, divers, chronos. And if I had to pick up from Dino, Paul, and Archie, there's no other way to appreciate a watch than to put it on your wrist and then decide. Now, if you're lucky, some people, they buy it, then they decide. There. That's what I wanted to share, Francis.
Well, actually, that brings us really neatly into the next thing I wanted to ask you guys, and maybe Fed, you can lead off since you're here. What you talked about, like the things you look for. So, what are the things you look for the most in when you're buying a watch? Is it looks? Is it history, rarity, technical? Archie said fit. What are the things that you look for, and that makes a watch?
Personally, I love looking at watches on leather straps, but I can't manage wearing them. I have a few, but I hardly wear them. So because of our temperature here in the Philippines, our climate, so a rubber band or a stainless steel bracelet will always be more practical. I have a thick wrist. It's a 7 1/4. So I also like to look at the size. I think the smallest I would wear is maybe a 36, but nothing smaller than that. So people also like to talk about not just the diameter. They also like to look at the lug width or the lug to lug end, and really try to see what would fit their wrist. And then, as you mentioned, the lifestyle. Well, if you're like Archie and you're mostly in corporate suits and you're in offices, I think the dressier watches are more your style. But if you're like Dino, Paul, or myself, and we like to spend more time, well, before COVID, more time outdoors, right? You want maybe like a simple dial, like a diver, and with one glance. I do have to have a date. I know some people prefer the no date because the dial is cleaner. So yeah, there's so many watches and there's so many watch brands out there. So I think that the best advice I could give is really to fit the watch, just to add to whatever these gentlemen have said.
So actually, fitting watch sounds like Archie's exactly Archie's style. So Arch, how about you? What is it that you look for a watch, and what makes a watch sing to you?
Yeah, for me, Chief, I look at probably three things. Number one, the look of the watch.
Mhm.
Really need to find it, beautiful, gorgeous. Number two, heritage. So if it's an iconic model from a mainstream brand that takes a big box. Why heritage and I like iconic status? It's because if I grow tired of that watch, I can sell it easily. It's not really to treat it as an investment. It's more of like because when I started, I was buying watches that are not really mainstream. People like take JLC for example. Most people probably just know what the reverse or the Polaris.
Sure.
If
Yes.
buy stuff that are not even from the main line, parang people wouldn't even notice it in the marketplace, or they will really lowball you. That's just
Yeah.
outside of Rolex and Seiko. It's really a tough, I know, it's a tough world out there.
Yeah.
If you're collecting watches from unknown brands. So, so that's an early lesson that I learned. Collect something iconic, something a lot of people probably know. And first, you should really like it, not just because it's iconic. So it should be iconic. Number two, I like it. And number three is the fit. One example here is I some time ago I really like this watch, the Reverso Tribute to 1931 in black. It's a really gorgeous watch. I went to the boutique, wanted to try it out, but it's too big for my wrist. Tapos yung the strap would flare.
Arch, just send it to me na lang if you don't want it na.
No, I didn't get to get it, boss.
Shucks.
At time pa lang, it was too big na, no? So I only have a 6.5-inch wrist, so there's a limited number of watches I can pull off.
Uy, pareho tayo. Here lang me.
Nice one, Dino. Abangers.
Actually, Arch, can I ask you something? Because you said a while ago about the iconic status, right? Is there something in particular that would make you say this is iconic? Is there like a criteria, or is it because it's the famous model of the house, or is it because it had, like, for example, the moon watch went to the moon, obviously, and what is it? Which of these things make a watch iconic to you?
For me, it's no. I use it loosely. I know there are a lot of standards that we can use.
Yeah.
They're not a watch is iconic, and some people are very strict. Like for that should just be the moon watch. For Rolex should just be this. But for me, it's something that has stood the test of time. As it could have different iterations, but the main elements should still be there. And it's something that will really represent the brand, so that even if it's not the main thing, if you see it, you'll see the identity of the brand in the watch.
I see.
That's a JLC, that's a Seiko, that's a Rolex. So along those lines.
Well, there's a couple of guys in the comments that were talking about. Janice was saying we spend more time looking at the dial, and Anthony said yes, dials are art, which I think is perfect for Paul because his watches always have gorgeous dials. So how about you, Paul? The dial is obviously one thing you look at. What are the other things you look for?
Well, the dial's always the first thing that you see. So it's like the soul of the watch. So when you look at it, that's the first. That's where the infatuation starts. But like other people said, you have to make sure that the case fits you. Because I've tried big watches. The first watch that I had that was about 50 millimeters. Uh, it's nice. It's nice on the when you take a. It's nice to take pictures of it. It's nice to post it on Instagram or Facebook. But when it was on my wrist, it's like, uh, it's a little bit too big, right? So aside from the dial, you have to look at the case, and then how the case blends in with all the other details, like how it matches with the bracelets. It's also important to me. I have this thing about the gaps between the case and the bracelets. It's
Mm.
something that it's just not for me. But when I see a watch whose end links are matted perfectly into the bracelet, that's something that's something that I really really love. So next to that, also the way that things are laid out. Okay, um, is it function? Is it still functional? Does it still maintain its function despite its design? Right? Like for guards for divers watches. Okay, it's a important thing for dive watches. But sometimes when you look at the way that it was made, it's like it loses its function, and that's a kind of a turn off for me.
Well, someone here, Josh, in the comments in the chat said the story. This the story of the watch, add to the collectability in your eyes anyway. I mean, of course, it's this is a subjective matter, but for you, is there do you look for a story in the watches you pick? Paul, oh, you're in mute.
Sorry, the audio cut out for a while. Can you say it
Okay, I'm
again?
sorry. No, I was just saying that Josh in the chat was saying that he loves looking for watches with a great story. Does the story make a difference in how? I mean, this is subjective, of course, but does it carry a lot of weight for you, or is it something that you're not as particular on?
It's secondary for me. It's honestly secondary because there are some watches with a great story, but the story sometimes doesn't really, if you can't relate to it and if it doesn't look good on you, then it's just a bad fit.
Mm,
Like this watch could be worn by a certain celebrity, but if it doesn't work for you, no matter how famous that guy is, no matter how big the hype is, everyone wants this, but it doesn't work for you, then it's automatically a no. I've tried watches like that before. I said I bought it because it was the hype watch. It was the in thing, and then most of the time I end up just flipping it.
I see.
So I guess the stories are really important. It can add uh, value to a watch. So if a watch fits all your criteria, and then it has a story, it adds to it, but it can't be the sole reason why you're getting it.
Thanks for that. How about you, Dino? What's aside from the sport, what do you look for? What do you look for in a watch?
What do I look for in a watch? Because I'm not one to actually go for something that that I guess at this time, at this point in my life, as in I'm one to when it I need the watch to speak to me. I guess that's what everybody's saying.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to speak to you. In a way, yeah, speak to you. But it's really no joke. As in, when you see a picture of a watch, sometimes parang visually, parang oh, ganda, ganda. It's so nice. I wanna buy it. Yeah. But until you see it personally, that's when you get to know the watch. I guess that's the relationship you have with a particular watch upon seeing it. It's like meeting a person for the first time.
Mm,
Kahit na nakita mo somewhere in a store, pero unless you're face to face with a watch, whether it's a new watch or a vintage watch, once you have it in your hands, you're staring at it, you're fitting it, and then you see bagay ba tayo? Are we, does it feel like nice? Does it, because there's actually many watches that are, sought after, parang kung pwede ka, you have money to burn, you can buy all those things. But at the end of the day, would you really wear those watches talaga as in
Yeah.
every day? So parang medyo parang sayang. So I guess I'm going through that route of looking for a watch that I guess if it speaks to you, that's what I'm looking for. And also research. Sometimes kasi it pays to research watches. And history, they say history plays a big role.
Mhm.
Pero I guess it's a way to get to know the watch. It's not the be all end all because it went to the moon, it went to the it could be like something new for you to understand why the watch is that kind of a watch.
Do you know how many moon watches do you have?
ganun pa ganun pa rin, wala naman nagbabago.
Ganun pa rin, marami pa rin.
Uy, dami na nga
Guys,
gusto
check
bumili.
out Dino's video on his moon watches. Wow. Grabe.
Hindi. May umaawit na nga eh.
Hoy, matagal na umawit na. I know where you live, Dino.
But you don't know where I hide them.
Yun lang. Okay. I'll have a chat with your driver and your yaya another time. Sorry.
Well,
Ayan.
actually, I want to go back to Arch sandali. Arch, we were talking you said a while ago that some of the brands that you got into were lesser known or not so mainstream. Actually, I know that and me personally, I have a fascination with them, although I don't have many. And I know it's something that's becoming more and more popular. But what do you think about micro brands? And are there any micro brands that you find interesting? And maybe I don't know if you necessarily buy them, but you really want to learn more about and check out.
Yeah, great question, Francis. Actually, for me, I think micro brands present a great opportunity for people to get, watches that have really nice designs at different price points, especially now that it's tough to get stuff from the mainstream brands with all of the hype going around. So I feel micro brands really fill a need, from the consumers. And one thing I noticed also about micro brands, they're usually made by fellow enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So they what makes the market tick. So one example, I have one micro brand in my collection. It's from Undone. I stayed in Hong Kong for a couple of years, and Undone is a Hong Kong brand. And before I left, I made sure that I picked a watch from their collection. I got the base camp, and then I actually marketed it to my frat, and then we ended up buying 100, and it has a customized dial.
Oh wow!
So that's one Undone. I think they make really fun watches at a reasonable price, and customer service is great. You just email them, they'll send you an invoice, then they can deliver anywhere in the world. And another brand I want to explore is I like Baltic watches.
Okay, yeah.
For example, I don't know if it's the Bicompax, the Bicompax line. I think it's a really nice looking model.
What about you, Fed? Is there any micro brand that you've been getting into some Russian watches lately? Any lesser known or micro brands that you're into?
Yeah, I did. I had a couple of micro brands thanks to one of our members who's a good friend of mine. So I tried the Maranes, which was a brass watch. I also tried the Nethans, which is a bronze. And then I tried recently a Unimatic, which is an Italian micro brand. So so far I noticed, and I guess Dina will approve, and so will Paul, that all of the micro brands that I try still have a Seiko movement anyway. So yeah, it's nice because you get to see something different, you get to try something different. I haven't taken any of them swimming, but they're really nice to look at, and because they're different, they just look so different. So it's fun. I think micro brands are great.
How about you, Dino? What about you? Is there a micro brand that you have in mind, or maybe even a local brand that you want to check out, or something like that?
I haven't jumped into the microbrand pool yet, but I've been looking around, and yeah, and I will echo Fed's sentiment that they're really unique. So for people who actually want to get into watches and are not concerned about it being like the main popular mainstream brands, or you know they're a good option as in budget wise also. So uh and the problem for me why I haven't gotten any microbrand is kasi ang dami nila. So
Mhm.
parang for me to just pick one, and then and then I'll see another one, I feel like it's another rabbit hole for me. So I'm kind of careful on that because I know my tendencies. So but I don't want to open that box yet. So but I've looked at many watches like yung mga Nth watch and yung mga Dan Henry pa yan, may mga Orion. So it's too many for me to. I don't want to get into that yet. Maybe when I have siguro money to burn.
Soon, soon.
So
How about you, Paul? Actually, Paul, for you, I mean, yeah, we can talk about the micro brands also, but one of the things that and I mentioned it in passing earlier, one of the things that really fascinates me about what you have in your collection are the ukiyo-A's, and I hope I'm not butchering the name, but what about stuff like the modified watches or historically modified watches?
Okay. First I'll start with the micro brands. I dipped my toes in micro brands just recently. I ordered a watch from Makina. Okay.
Okay, yes,
So
local brand.
I mean, it's a local brand. I was really intrigued. I like how they try to go on design. Okay, so there's some micro brands uh, who try to make a watch look like another watch, but not with Makina. Their designs are fresh. I don't see that. I don't see their designs anywhere else. Uh, and I hope that in the future they stay true to that, and they keep on giving more uh, different designs. Okay, and then there's another brand. I don't know if you can consider it a micro brand, but it's on my Instagram feed, and it's a Russian brand, Konstantin Chaikin.
Okay.
Yeah, they're crazy expensive. I'd probably never be able to afford one, but um, it's fantastic. The designs that they have, they made the clown watch with the two dials.
Yeah,
telling the,
yes, the clown watch. Yes, sorry.
the
Now
clown
you're
watch.
yes.
Yeah, I found that to be really cool. But it's something that you don't see. It's witty. It's a conversation starter. And then I love this other watch that he made with the levitating disc. It's a see-through dial where the hands seem to float.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's when I saw it's like, whoa, the engineering this needed for that. Although someone did it before, way before, but it's something that you don't see in any of the other mainstream brands. Uh, if you guys have a chance to search him on Instagram, wonderful stuff he has. Okay, going back to the KUA. Okay, so sorry, what's your question again about
No,
the
I was asking how did you get into it, and what's the history behind it?
Okay. Well, I saw someone post it before on Facebook. Okay, someone else had it, and then I said, "Well, what's this?" It was a Seiko watch with a Japanese designed dial, and then so it got me curious. What is it? And it said Okiyo-A. Okiyo-A. I might be butchering it. Okay, sorry for anyone who's Japanese out there. It's actually wood block carvings. Okay, and then from the wood block carvings, they print it to make designs, to make posters or whatever. Okay. Now back in the 70s, some Japanese jewelers, okay, they said, oh, what we can get Japanese ukiyo-e stamps and place them on the dials of watches. of Seiko watches. So it's quite meticulous because they'd have to dismantle the watch, dismantle the dial, take out every single indice, okay, and then they'd have to look for a stamp with a Japanese design, and then they have to make sure that the design fits perfectly on top of the watch dial without having any text on it, without the value of the stamp being shown. And then afterwards, they put it all back in again and then assemble the watch again. So there's a lot of work involved. And then it's cool. It's something that really takes a lot of time. Not everyone can do it. And then so it shows the skill of the jeweler at the time. And there aren't that many around. I don't see them for sale as much. You can find them a lot probably in Japan, okay? But if you go to some small store, you might be able to find them. And it's just really intriguing that someone took the time to actually go through all that effort just to make a watch, and the end result is just beautiful.
Thanks for that, because whenever you post one of those watches, it just blows my mind how beautiful they are and how interesting they are. So I mean, I know that they're not micro brands per se, but there's some kind of, it's a niche. I guess the word is, it's a niche that maybe a watch collector can sort of go into. And like Dino said, there's these different rabbit holes you can dive into and get lost in and lose a lot of money in, or spend a lot, not lose, spend a lot of money on. Let's not say lose.
Actually, the POAs, it's equivalent probably right now to people how they mod watches. So back then, I mean, you don't really have that many things to mod a watch. So that's what they did back then.
Actually, you know, okay, that's a very interesting. How do you guys feel about modified watches? Because like I see a lot of guys who, whether they modify it themselves or have someone else modify them. How do you guys, you know, what's your take on those? What are the things that would you have one, and how would you modify your watch if you could? Anyone?
Okay. Well, for me, if you modify a watch to look like another watch, then it's a no for me. Like if I got a Seiko and I want it to look like a Rolex because you love the Rolex, then it's not really for me. Okay, but I see some people, they modify their watches because they want it to look like for a certain Seiko watch. If they got a Seiko watch, it was perfect for them, but I just hate this design element that they had. So they somehow modify it, and then, oh, this is perfect for me. Things like that I can appreciate. Or I think we have a member in Seiko Watch Club of the Philippines. He actually paints his dials. I can't remember his name right now, but the designs, the hand painted dials that he does, it's fantastic. So mods like that, oh, I can really get behind that. So at the end of the day, as long as it's expressing your aesthetic, then that's fine. But if you're trying to copy something else which is already there, it kind of loses it for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Paul with that. When you're trying to copy something, you know, might as well, you know, go for that, because you'll never be satisfied, because you're just, you know, craving for that. And that's why you're copying it. You're trying to emulate it. You're trying to assimilate that look on a watch. But at the end of the day, it's not the watch that you want. So that's the other side of, you know, modding. You know, some people, because they can't afford, you know, understandably, you know. And I'm not dissing naman the people that are really into that, you know. So they want a watch that they can't afford, so they approximate it in a cheaper watch. That's fine, you know. For me, not for me also, like Paul. There's like other people who mod watches to express something, or to make something look even better, you know. So sometimes kasi a base watch, minsan kulang ng oomph, you know. So parang kung meron lang siya, yung bezel lang niya gawin niyang ganito, or if they change the hands, even like the hands, you know, the old, change it into something else, then it makes a difference. It changes the whole watch. that in itself is actually worth the mod. But some people kasi rin, another thing then I keep seeing like, guys, can I, ano, is it okay if I buy a mod? Ganyan. But at the back of their mind, they're already thinking of ano yung value nito? Kasi kung gusto ko ibenta
Yeah.
at the end of the day, parang, no, that's what happens with mod watches. Ikaw lang, it's a unique thing that, ikaw lang nakaka-appreciate. You're the only one who will appreciate it. Not many people might not, like it the way you do. So don't expect to make money out of it lang, when you
Yeah.
flip it. So if you're gonna go for mod, expect, you might lose money on it. But why do you mod? You want to mod because, you want to get something that you want. So if you're gonna mod a watch, make sure that your heart is into it, you're willing to keep it, and you won't have any regrets about it. So some people kasi they'll say, I'm gonna buy a mod. Ganyan. Is it a good investment? No, it's not a good investment. Parang car, bumili ka ng car na
Yes.
stock, ganyan. Mod mo siya ng ganito, ginawa mong rocket rice cake, everything, nilagay mo na ng ilaw, ng LED and everything. And you expect, after a few years, you're planning to sell it. No, not everybody's gonna like the aesthetics that you probably put in it. So don't expect na you'll make money out of it. You'll probably lose more money out of it. Kahit na you threw like hundreds and thousands of money on the mods and everything. So make sure that when you mod something, you're actually you're all in, and okay lang. Make sure that you have excess money to throw at it, because you're the only one who's going to appreciate it.
Which makes sense. How about you, Arch? What do you think?
Yeah, for me, Chief, so long as you like what you're doing, so long as the end product is something that you'd like to wear, you'll be proud to wear, it's something that makes you appreciate, the hobby more. Because I know a lot of people, they spend a lot of time modding a watch, diba? Like they'll spend hours researching where to source this dial, where to find, and I think that's fine. I think it contributes to the community. If they have this much passion into building a watch that they can call their own, and sometimes I'm surprised that there are some modded watches that can really go toe to toe with the original, with the inspiration. So I think it's really great. But another options that people can consider are the independent, the small watchmakers who can customize, who can build a watch from scratch, get an H35 movement, source, without having to, butcher a nice looking Seiko, So that's another route that people can take, so that it'll be a little more original, and not something, that a lot of people have already done in the past.
Francis, I want to chime in on the modern
Please
watches.
do.
Unfortunately, I'm on the other end of the spectrum, I think, from what everybody said. I've owned two modern Seikos, an Urchin and an SKX, and I really enjoyed them. I mean, they were actually modded to look like a Submariner. Actually, I used them in our episode about the Submariners. I had fun with them. I mean, it was nice to see, okay, this is the take of what the bezel would look like. This is the take on the hands and things like that. I've also tried very light modding, like, actually, I got some help from Dino. Change the bezel, change the bracelet, things like that. It's fun. But definitely, as Dino has said, there's no real money in modding. You're really going to end up spending. But the ones that I admire the most are the guys that do it themselves. I mean, these are the guys with the cojones, to change the bezel, to change the dial. We have some members in our community that do it themselves, and for me, naman, that's something that I highly appreciate, because it might also develop the talent. They might be modders now, and then later on they'll become a micro brand. You never know.
Yeah.
So I do have respect for those that do the mods themselves. As for people like me who like to ask other people to do it for us or to buy them modded naman, well, it's really fun. I would veer away from the word butcher, although I know there are some pieces that have been butchered, but it's also nice to see like if somebody changed the bezel a little bit. Oh, ganyan pala yung itsura niyan. So that's what it would look like with that kind of bezel, or oh, that's what it would look like with that kind of bracelet. For example, me, I've owned a few, but I really love strap code. When I see the strap code bracelets talaga, I go nuts. Parang I want to buy a watch just to put that bracelet on. Yeah, and my son is shaking his head. But anyway, yeah, so modding is fun. But yeah, definitely it's about the smiles per gallon. So don't think about that, oh, I'm gonna make money because it's custom. No. Yun lang.
No, that's fair. And like I think, like everyone said, it's really a person. As long as you understand that, once you mod a watch, it's yours pretty much for life, and you can accept that. And it's pretty much anything goes, right? So, I actually just wanted to, comment on some things in the chat because we were talking about Microbrands. A couple of guys are mentioning a bunch of different brands, and I wish I could answer about or we have we could answer all of the different brands that you guys listed, but one in particular, guys are talking about the Chrono from Tokyo. Oh, I've never had one, but I'm in love with their chronographs. Chronograph 1, chronograph 2. I'm in love with those chronographs. I think at 38 they're on the small end for me. I have a 7.5-inch wrist, but gosh, they're beautiful. Even their anniversary models, they look beautiful. So if any of you is anyone in the panel ever had one in their hands?
No.
No. So I mean, guys in the audience, if any of you have a Chrono or have had taken have any experience, please put it in the community and share it with us, because I personally, it's a lot of money for a Chrono, but gosh, that's something that's on my list. It just pops to me. So I just had to say that, and I had to inject. But we're actually running a little bit longer than normal, but I think that's right. I hope you guys haven't made any other plans for tonight, because looks like we're gonna run long again, just like last year. Guys, I want to wrap up before we hit our Q&A, because we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. It looks like, and I hope that we can get through most of them. But I want to first, what we have to ask: what would be your ideal 3-watch collection? And let's say
Archie.
Actually, we wrote this question just for Archie. No,
Yes, let's go, Archie.
No, but what would budget, unlimited budget? What would it be, Archie?
Boss, for me, I know it's really, I know it's boring. I know. I would pick no date sub, the Moonwatch, and Reverso Tribute. So for me, since I started when I first got these three models, it's the first time that I felt that my collection is complete. And over the years, these are the 3 models that really just stayed in the collection. And up to now, they really get a lot of wrist time. And I just love the symmetry. I love that all 3 models have no date, and I love what they represent and the history, and they just they spark joy every time I wear them. So,
Actually, I remember when we first met, you were wearing the no date sub.
so yeah, since I don't know, years now.
Dino, what about you? What's your and you're not allowed to say 3 sporks, huh? Not allowed to say 3 sporks.
Ano ba? Ang hirap eh. Kasi some of them are, I don't have yet, if I
Sure.
wish. Yeah, pero well, what I have now, siguro, if I'm gonna, is this one, my Marine Master, kasi it's gonna be all my everyday beater. It's like my sub, Actually, if I was saying, if Seiko really wanted to go toe to toe with a Submariner, that they could actually use the sub to be that one without sacrificing, it's an imitation or anything. Ayan, so
Who's your watch collector there?
my little Ayan. So, ano, my other one would be my Explorer one. So it's like classic. Anything goes. You can wear it, casually, formal, anything. Yes, you can wear it in any kind of situation. So, and the other one is my vintage GS. That I never thought I'd really love. It's a 36 mm. So I didn't think that that kind of small watch would really have a big presence on my wrist. So those are my current three watches that I have.
How about you, Paul?
3 watches for
Forever.
forever.
Paul, you have
Forever.
more than 15 minutes to prepare for this, okay?
Okay, well, for practicality's sake, I have a Seiko Samurai. It's a titanium Samurai. Okay, for me, that's the perfect go anywhere watch. Okay, it's waterproof. It's lightweight. I don't mind if I bang it around. If I drop it, it's okay. If I end up losing it somewhere on a trip, I'm okay because it wasn't.
No,
No, it
not
wasn't.
the
It wasn't.
titanium. No.
I mean, it's not as bad as losing, let's say, a Rolex or something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
So
okay, fair.
you're not handling it with kid gloves, right?
Fair enough.
So it's the perfect
I should
watch.
walk around your office tomorrow.
COVID can't. Sorry. So that would be the first one. Okay. The second one would have to be my birth month watch. It's a Seiko Bullhead. Okay.
Mm,
Um, the design of the bullhead really,
Paul, is it a
really
black or a brown?
yes.
brown.
Brown.
Brown. Yeah. So it really rings to me. That's actually the first vintage purchase Seiko that I got. It was it so happened to be my birth month watch. So that's gonna stay with me. And the last watch, okay, would probably be a Seiko vintage Panda. Okay.
Wow.
The design of the Panda will probably be good for all occasions, for formal occasions or for office. It's never gonna go out of style. I mean, looking at the Daytonas and all these other watches, the the demand for a Panda is always there,
Yes.
right? So it's always gonna be the perfect watch. It's gonna be a no-brainer talaga. So that would be the third one.
Wow. Pure Seiko. Seiko all the way.
Oh wait, there are other watches ba?
No. I have to say though, I agree with the Panda, and that's one of my biggest regrets selling my 6138 Panda. That's one of my biggest regrets. But yeah, that's
Yes, agree.
Francis, we can talk to
Ako rin,
Paul
ako
later.
rin.
Francis will talk to Paul later, okay? Off air.
Unahan
Hindi ko
kami ni
maalala.
Tino.
Hindi ko nga maalala kung kanino ko binente. Parang gusto kong balikan eh.
Tino, ayaw ko maalala kasi mainis lang ako eh.
Intentionally, my Seiko Panda has a small flaw, which makes it undesirable to someone else.
Hmm.
So it's gonna stay with me forever. I mean, it has a slight patina. Okay, so if you're gonna try to sell to someone, they're probably gonna haggle you down, and so like, no way, I'm not gonna sell it. So
Fair enough. Fed, what's your 3-watch collection?
I don't know what that is.
It does not exist.
that's a
I'm gonna
Spencer
Stop
change.
collection.
confused.
Yeah, I'll just give na lang two different answers. One is, if I only had one watch, it would be my Rolex Submariner, the 40 millimeter. If I could only have one watch, God forbid. And for a Grail, I'm still dreaming about this. Maybe when I turn 50, I really want an Ever Rose Gold Daytona with an ivory dial.
Mm.
Yeah,
What's
that's
the
really
third?
what I want.
So you
What?
said you can't have
Kay
3,
Archie
you said
na lang.
2.
Yeah, okay na yun. I'm quite happy. Famous last words. I'm quite happy with the watches I have in my collection. I try to stay below 20. I know the other guys on the board can't say anything, but anyway, I try to stay below 20 kasi parang after more than 20, I think it's hard to wear them na. Although admittedly, when you work from home or the days you work from home, personally, I can go through like 3 or 4 watches in one day. So that's the fun part naman of the work from home. Kasi you change when you wake up, you wear one, then maybe you wear it for breakfast, and then you change, you wear another one for lunch, and then you wear another one for dinner, and then you wear another one when you're watching Netflix. Look at Archie, she's really laughing. So, yeah, so those are my crazy answers to your question. Pero to have a 3-watch collection, medyo mahirap talaga yun. I'm sure all of the guys that attended this Zoom will agree with me. Mahirap yun. That's really tough. 3-watch collection. I think it's ano, it's
20 lang, sobra pa.
Well, let's make it harder because one of the questions in our Q&A, the first question actually is from Anthony L. And he actually asked, if you could only have one watch, what would it be? So, Mr. Borromeo, I guess you answered the no date. Your sub, right? That's not no date, but your sub with date pala. Sorry, excuse me. For you, all right? What about Dino? What's your one watch?
Wag. Wag. Huwag naman ganyan.
foul.
Dino, yung tanong ko tatlo ha. Tanong ni Anthony to, kasalanan ni Anthony, hindi ako.
Yung tatlo na nga, mahirap na eh. One pa. Parang sinabi mong kay Archie, ilan chicks.
Up. PG.
We're still,
It's a family program.
Sorry.
Tuloy, sabi ni Anthony, life is hard, oh. Sabi niya tuloy.
No,
One
Archie
watch,
has a
one
poultry. Archie has a poultry. Ano ba kayo? Kaya ganyan.
How to
One
be
watch,
you,
boss.
Archie.
One watch. Kaya mo yan.
One watch? Ang hirap naman.
I'll answer spork, but you have to have 3.
But he has 3 sports.
Para I love you. Ayan.
Yeah, okay.
Sige, we'll go back to Dino later. People are
Yan
asking.
na yun.
Yun na ba yun, yung spork?
No, yun na yun.
Archie, people are waiting for your answer now.
Archie na tayo.
Archie, what's your one watch?
Mute na tayong lahat.
Boss, for me, it has always been the reverso. So, tribute duo, I feel it can be dressed down, it can be made into a formal watch, depending on the strap. And I like what the brand represents. The watchmaker's watchmaker. I mean, trumps the big 3. So for me, it's that watch. Tsaka it's cheating a bit kasi you have 2 dials.
Oh nga, no? So actually it's 2 in 1. How about you, Paul? One watch.
That's an impossible question.
Sabi sa inyo eh. Kalokohan yan eh.
Kalokohan lang.
Kalokohan yan.
If I was to say any watch, it would be a lie.
Ito yan. One watch ka dyan.
One watch.
Bakit pa tayo nandito?
I refuse to answer that question under the grounds that it's an impossible question.
Well, okay.
Sino ba nagtanong niyan? Sino ba nagtanong niyan?
Pang philosophy yan eh.
Si Anthony L. Siya yung nagtanong, hindi ako ha. Akala ko
Anthony L.
Mahirap na eh.
Oh, Anthony L. Wag mo na lokohin sarili mo.
Well, sige. Well, moving on. So, sige. So let's not talk about yung one watch ka lang. But what about si Jello Navarro is asking, what's one watch that you don't currently own that you would love to have within the next 5 years? Dino, sige, ikaw naman.
Niintay ko lang naibenta sa akin eh. Batman siguro, probably. Medyo attainable. Ayan. Pero, who knows, Yun
Who
na.
knows? How about you, Arch? What's yours?
For me, probably the white birch.
Oh, interesting. Why is that? Why is that?
Um, I'm excited about the movement, although I'm not really happy with the reviews I've been reading. I hope they resolve the issues, So and yeah, I think it's a promising new generation of brand safety movement. I love the dial, the fact that it's in steel is a plus over the snowflake.
Yes.
It will make for a better daily wear from a brand safety.
The GS is nice, and actually I'm a sucker for the sweep on the spring drive, and I'm actually GS. That's what probably mine. I want to have a GS someday. As any spring drive, maybe the GMT. That would be for me. How about you, Fed?
It would probably be another Panerai, which is what I said also last year. I still haven't mustered the guts to pull it off, siguro. It's a 372. The 372 kasi, well, first it's on a leather strap, so that's the first problem. And the second is that actually it has a polished case. So parang at 47, it's like super bling. So I don't know if I can pull it off. But that's something I would love to have, especially the one with the sapphire, not the acrylic.
All right, Paul. What about you?
For me, a watch that I'd love to have. One watch, a Rolex Explorer 2, white dial on steel.
Polar.
Yes. That's for me. That's
All
my
the
favorite.
40 mm or the 42?
Doesn't matter if you're gonna give it to me. Both would fit.
Okay, what if you're paying for it? If you're paying
You'll
for
make it
which
fit.
one?
A 40. I haven't really tried any of them, but I think my wrist could do a 40. It can also do a 42. Among all the Rolexes, that's actually my favorite.
Paul, don't be so modest. I know you gave one to your dad.
Wow, what a gift.
That was a long time ago.
Well, let's stick to the whole one watch theme. And Dino De Leon asks, what is the one watch that got away? So we talked about the one watch that that you'd like to have. What's the one watch that got away? And Dino, let's stick with you.
Watch ba talaga pinag-uusapan natin?
Watch naman, boss. Watch naman. PG, family show, family show.
One that got away. That got away. Balikan niyo ako. Wala iniisip ko. Parang...
Sport ulit eh.
Basta pag number one at Dino, ayaw mo sagutin na.
Yeah, alam mo, you know me. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
We're on live. We're on live. How about you, Paul?
Okay. I'd like to answer that now. Strangely enough, the one that got away for me was the Seiko Tubataha. I don't have one.
Really?
I don't
I'm
have
surprised.
one. I'm surprised too.
Oo nga, ako rin, no?
I don't have one. I mean, like, it was iconic, okay, because it was the first Philippine limited edition.
Yes.
Okay. I had a lot of opportunities to get one, but
Yes.
somehow I didn't. And now that the price is really high, it's much higher than it was retail before. I still want it, but I don't want to pay the premium. So it looks like that I'm never gonna be able to get one. So that's the one that got away.
Wow. That actually hurts because that's quite recent, no?
Quite recent.
Oh, I feel for you. I feel for you.
Francis, trade yours for the Panda.
I don't know if I can do it. And I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because purely aesthetically, I have to say that I love the Panda more. Purely aesthetically. No? But I can't ever let go of my Tubata. In fact, there's actually one more watch I need to complete the set because for my 39th birthday, Ferds, my brother, gave me an SKX for 399.
Yes.
So that was we were talking about that with
Pinoy divers.
with Ted, with Ted Choco in our episode, of our early episodes. It's a Filipino diver. So I've kept that for a long time. It's one of my daily wears. It gets it gets some of the most wrist time for me. And then after the Tubataha came out, now I want a 401 to complete the set. So I don't think that'll ever leave for me. So but yeah, so sorry that it wasn't part of the question, but yeah, so I guess that's what it'd be. Fed, how about you? What's the one that got away?
Fortunately, after talking to some friends and whatnot, I was able to find another Panerai 389, a submersible. I know it's really huge. It's 47 millimeters, but I love wearing it. So for now, I'm happy. Of course, there are a lot of other watches on the list. So I guess that would be the one that I caught up with. For now, yeah.
For now.
For now.
All right. Arch, what's yours? What's the one that got away?
For me, it's the Geophysic tribute to 1958. It
Wow.
was released in 2015. Tapos I got one. It's just in stainless steel, but it was a limited edition of 800 pieces from the local boutique. But after a few years, I flipped it, and now I'm regretting selling it because it's really hard to find a piece in really good condition. So during that time, it was like it had all of the bells and whistles. It was issued to sell to commemorate the geophysical year 1958. It was supposed to house the most accurate JLC movement at that time. And then it was also anti-magnetic. It was water resistant. It was like an explorer's watch, and it had a really gorgeous dial. And if you just replace the stock alligator strap with the brown strap, it really does wonders to the look of the watch. So that's the one for me.
That's interesting. That's something very sounds like you very interesting. You really know the little details for what you want, no?
Yes, boss.
Dino, back to you. May sagot na ba? Wala pa rin.
No, not that I think about it. Yeah, I think it's the panda nga. Kasi the one that actually haunts me. To the point na I see it once, once in a blue moon being sold, pero hindi ko magawang bilhin na kasi knowing how much I sold mine and actually how much I bought it, medyo parang ang sakit,
I feel you, Dino. I feel you.
Yep.
Parang dati ganun lang yun ganun ka yung feeling mo na parang, and tapos parang somebody said it, knowing how much it was and how hindi ko siya magawang bilhin rin, just as the same with Paul na yun nga, as in, maybe one day, as in, siguro pag I couldn't resist it na, I'd probably give in, pero I'm holding off. Maybe one day baka I might find somebody selling it, at that price that I can swallow.
Well, speaking of selling stuff, and hopefully this one won't be a regret. But Cat Spock was asking if anyone has any tips on how to downsize the collection when you can't seem to trim it down anymore. My first reaction was, why would you want to downsize your collection? But if I'm gonna assume
Stop
that this
buying
is
watch boxes. Stop buying watch boxes. I think that's the one. I don't know, Arch. Do you agree with me?
Very practical advice.
Yeah, stop buying watch boxes because if you keep buying, of course, I know a gentleman there in our panel that he stopped buying watch boxes, so he started buying tool boxes. The trays for the tool boxes. So I don't know, he went the opposite direction from what I'm saying. So,
parang bahay ng gagamba, no?
Oh, yeah.
Dumadami.
That's my tip. No? Stop buying watch boxes.
Anyone else have any tips for that, or any advice for someone who wants it? Let's say he's unloading to reload, right? How do you pick which one? So there's a how do you say this? There's a watch lover's accepted reason for wanting to unload. So unload to reload. How would you choose them?
Well, simple lang naman yun. So you just have to ask yourself, look in the mirror, what do you not wear? If you don't wear it, then it's probably not worth your time to wear. Not something that you enjoy wearing. So that goes in a pile siguro that you can let go. Kasi out of sight, out of mind. If you don't remember it, it doesn't mean much to you. I guess for me, that's how I know. So, and there are pieces naman that you don't rarely wear, but you still, know where, that I have this and I know where it is. And I wear it on certain occasions. Iba yun. Pero yung
Yeah.
mga pieces na parang you forgot about that you had, that's easy, Sentimentality doesn't have to play a part there. So parang you can easily let those go. Tapos you'll wind up with a lean collection of the pieces that you like, You just have to ask the hard question kasi na parang ano ba dito yung hindi ko talaga impulse buy, nagkamali ako, I was smitten the first time and then it doesn't hold that much attraction for me anymore. Then you can let go.
My
Parang
friend
one
brought me
ex-
to
parang one ex time yun,
Greenbelt, or was it Greenbelt? Archie, my friend brought me to Greenbelt. Yan.
Chief, in my case, I want and what Dino said. If you no longer wear it, diba, what's the sense in keeping it in the collection? But I'd like to add another thing. Apart from no longer wearing it, if you have seller's remorse, easy to buy it back or to get something similar. Like for the mainstream pieces, even if you let go of this model, you can buy it down the road. But if it's something that has a sentimental value for you, or something that has history for you, something that went to places with you, those things you can't purchase with a new watch, even if it's a similar model. So in my collection, like I have stuff that can be flipped or can be traded, and then
Yeah.
that will stay because we go ways back. So that's how I treat it.
Thanks, guys. Well, on sort of a similar train of thought, no? So Gianpaolo Bernardo asks, what would you guys consider to be the biggest mistake a collector can make? Like, what's the?
Selling
And I
your
guess.
watches.
Go ahead, Paul. Please
What's that,
expound.
Paul?
Please
What was
expound.
that?
Preach to him.
I don't agree with what Dino and Archie said. Out of sight, out of mind. I have watches that I haven't worn for a long time, but I can't get myself to sell them. My goodness.
Advice sa kanila yon, hindi sa atin.
Selling watches is,
Sa kanila, hindi tayo. Talaga.
oh, but my take on that, on the previous question, okay, if you want to trim down your watches beyond what you've already done, the only way to do it is to change your personality, change what you like. Really, I mean, like if you want to stop collecting watches, find something else that you like collecting. If you suddenly have an interest in fountain pens, become crazy about fountain pens, your desire for watches diminishes, and then I swear you're gonna start selling your watches left and right, and then you're gonna find out what's the one watch which is for you, because that's the only thing that's gonna be left. So until you change what you like, or if God forbid finances become really bad, that's the only time that you're gonna find a way to actually trim it down out of necessity. But as collectors, it's wala, sabi nga ni Dino, naglolokan lang tayo. It's an impossible question because it brings us joy. Okay, I don't see a lot of my watches, but sometimes I try to collect it. So it's a whole set. So even though one of them is ugly, I can't get myself to take it out, sell it, or dispose of it, even how ugly it is, because it completes a set. So it has a different meaning for me.
So for you, the mistake to make is if
Selling
you
your
sold the watch.
watches.
That's the mistake.
Yeah.
I guess ako, if ever like collecting watches, is following somebody else's journey. You're copying somebody else's collection. That's because it's not what you want. It's not you're just really mimicking, and that in itself kind of diminishes the values of the watch. Kasi parang kasi meron si ganyan, sige, I'll try to go for it. Meron si ganyan. But why are you buying these watches for? It doesn't make sense for me. So at the end of the day, you'll find probably regretting buying most of those things.
Oh, lahat ng bumili ng sport, benta nyo na.
Oh, tapon niyo sa basura yan.
Oh,
Bakit ba? Ano ba? Ano ba
ang
nakikita
daming
nito?
gumagaya kay Bino eh.
Sus Marioso.
How about you, Arch? What do you think? What's the biggest mistake a watch collector will ever make?
For me, Chief, it's probably it's when you settle, if you want something, tapos you settle for something that's kind of like the one that you really like, and then it would eat into you. It will always be at the back of your head. Or if you get, for example, if you try to to save on a little money, you get something that's not really in a nice condition, diba? Tapos a few months down the road, you see a better condition or a newer one, and that's also on the marketplace, diba? Tapos you end up selling or trading in the one that you got earlier. So you lose money in the process. So if you really want something, put your mind into it and just do the time and get the one that you really like.
How about you, Fed? What's the biggest mistake a watch collector can make?
Biggest mistake is not joining Filipino time community and not watching the videos. Actually, there's a comment about that the biggest mistake is watching reviews. Actually, I disagree. Sometimes I watch at least 5 or 6 videos, especially now because it's pandemic, so it's hard to go out and really try on the watch. I watch several videos and try to find the most honest assessment of the watch before deciding if I should purchase. Kasi sometimes, like what the other gentleman said, oh, si ganun meron, or this is the hot item, so I want one. But sometimes you buy it and then you realize, di pala, I don't like it pala. So I think that the videos and the unboxings help. And of course, there's a lot of articles also that you can read about the watch that you like. You can also ask, and that's the nice thing about being in the community, cha-ching, is that you can ask fellow collectors about the watch. I also do that even sometimes if I see somebody has a similar watch as mine, and there's something I want to ask, I ask them, shoot them a PM or on the post, I ask agad, have you had this experience, or are you happy with it? Have you done this? Have you done that? So that's also part of the learning, and that will help you avoid the mistakes. Is by asking others that might have the watch or have had the watch. So so avoid those mistakes. Stay tuned to Filipino time community. Ching.
Well, here's an interesting one, and for the married people in the panel. Carlos Chua asks, is your wife or significant other supportive of your watch hobby? He says, my wife reminds me I've been using a certain watch for several days now, and that I should switch watches already. If not, how do you? So I guess if not, meaning if your wife or significant other is not supportive, how do you hide your watches? That should be it. Okay, first things first. I don't think we want to disclose how we hide our watches here because this is going to be on YouTube and and Facebook, so maybe that's not a good thing to answer. But are your significant others supportive? How about you, Fed? Let's start with you.
Well, married by best friend, no? So actually that's the harder part kasi, oh, I like this watch, ganyan. Oh yeah, it's nice. Instead of, how many have you had? Yan, ganyan. No, it's, yeah, you know what, that's nice, huh? Pero mas maganda yung ganito. So, if you can convince your significant other also into the hobby, I think it will be healthier, but it might be more costly. And for those out there, that are into the couple's watches, diba? It's also fun, diba? Once in a while, matching tayo, things like that. That's also the fun part. But I think that really, if you have to hide it, maybe you need help. So be honest, kasi I mean, in this day and age, I mean, and depending on what level of collecting you're in, it's not cheap. Even if you say, no, I'm only going to stick to 10,000 or 15,000, that adds up. Sometimes you have to think about that also. Now I'm going back to the old question about how do you downsize, but maybe if you're realistic, no matter how many emotions or milestones or places you've been to with that watch. Do a reality check, no? Like my dear friend Paul D, he keeps all of his costs on an Excel. So yeah, he needs an Excel for that. I just have a piece of paper with my ugly handwriting, and I just put there how much was this, how much was that. And it's also about that meme, diba, na if I die, will my wife or my significant other sell the watches for the prices I told her? So at least, hindi, ito yan, you better get the money's worth if I die.
How about you, Paul? How about you? How's your situation with with your significant other? Supportive?
So supportive, but I think in the comment section, see Thomas Cueva said, collect responsibly. And that's true. You have, if you start collecting watches, you have to make sure that it doesn't go beyond it being a hobby. It doesn't eat into your family life. It doesn't eat into your finances to the point that you're wondering where are you going to get your tuition for next year or something like that. Okay, so if your family life is happy, finances are good, then there's a very big chance that it won't be an issue. Okay, if it does become an issue, then you might have to look at something else. It might not be your wife per se, but something else which is happening which you don't know.
How about you, Dino? Actually, Dino, for you, can I change the question a little bit? Has there ever been a time that your wife said, "Wag na yan," or "Tama na muna"?
As long as somebody would, kasi pag ganyan, if you hide these collections, it'll be hard for you to enjoy these pieces. So parang mahirap yung gano'n, tapos bibili ka ng expensive watch that, nga, as I will echo Paul's, it's sometimes probably is beyond what you should be buying, may priorities kayo, ganyan. Then it becomes more of a problem for you and your spouse. Kasi, nga, and ikaw, itatago mo lalo. So parang, the memory of that watch would just be like something na parang, instead of ma-enjoy mo, hindi mo siya ma-enjoy kasi you have to hide it, you can't enjoy it openly. So, when you buy, at least let your partner know, or girlfriend, wife, or if you have to let them know that and if she disagrees with it, maybe that's something you should consider also. Kasi probably it comes from a place of concern. Then maybe and if she knows naman that you can afford it, bakit ka napipigilan? It's something but if they say na parang, oh, ganyan, meron tayong ganito, may kaso sa ganyan, and then mo, then maybe that should tell you something na parang, wait, preno ka muna, assess mo muna yung priorities mo kasi hindi naman siya a cheap hobby. So parang parang drugs din yun. Kasi, don't go spending your money on something that you can't afford to lose in. So might as well. And be open with your significant other when it comes to your collection, and you'll have less of a headache. You don't have to hide it. You can just kasi pag may guilt mahirap yung may guilt may guilt na nakatali dun sa watch. Tapos parang pag patago mo susuot, tapos parang it could last you like that kind of game can last you for a few times. Pero parang at the end of parang it takes away the value for the watch for you to
Art, do you want to add to that?
I don't want to. No. If you have to hide it from your significant other, parang it's like keeping a mistress, no? I mean, if you have to hide your bank account, or you need to have, a separate bank account so you can fund your watches, diba? So that's so for me, I'd suggest if you have a significant other who's not supportive, would be open, talk to her about it. Because it's your passion, diba? I mean, all of us here, we share the same passion. And it's this passion that, keeps us going. It's something that we look forward to, the next acquisition, or looking at our watches, wearing them. So if she can't share in that, baka there might be a problem there, and it's something that you really need to resolve. But in my case, I'm not married, but that's what I would, that's the advice that I would give.
Actually,
Francis,
Hernani, good. So, yes, go ahead.
yeah, I just want to add, it's not just the money, okay?
Yes.
It's also the time for some people. Because
Mm.
there's some people, they're so obsessed with their collections that they keep on spending time changing straps, okay, tinkering with their watches, doing mods to the point that they forget that there are other things at home, and that could cause you problems na ganun.
I think in some cases, I think that might even be a bigger problem for some, no? The time might even be a bigger issue. So yeah,
Paul,
that's
what number is Mang Loy on your speed dial?
no
I
comment,
just
no comment.
no comment, no
No
comment.
comment. Well, I'll close that question with an interesting comment here from Hernani Gonzalez. He said, watches should inspire us and not make us feel guilty in a negative way. So I think that's a really good way of closing that question out. The next question comes from our good friend Cap Maceda Aguila. Hi, Cap. Uh, he asks, what is your stand on Homage watches? And he further separates faithful recreations versus reinterpretations, like for example the recent Alpinist. Fed, do you want to go with this one? Do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, recently I had Ocean X,
Mhm.
which was obviously an homage to the James Cameron Deep Sea Dweller.
Yes.
Kasi the Deep Sea Dweller is something I've wanted for some time. So I said, maybe I'll get an homage and try to see how the watch would feel. I'm sure it's not as faithful as it should be, but it gave me the feeling kasi, it's a big case, it's thick. I guess you want to keep it away from doorways and such, no? So apart from giving you a feel of what maybe the real one would be like, if let's say, for example, maybe at this point in time, no, after we had that sober moment a few seconds ago about being able to afford things you want, an homage, as long as it's not a fake, for me personally, it's okay. I say go for it.
Mhm.
Try it out. See if that's really what you want. Kasi you're gonna have to save your hard-earned money for that, so it better be worth it.
Paul, what do you think?
I agree with Fed. The watches, because they're there, like let's say for if there's a watch which is impossible for you to get, right? But you really love it, you really love the design, you connect to it, then the Homage watch is something that you can look into, right? It'll make you happy. That's fine, and it's not really, it's not, as long as it's not a fake. I mean, fakes are just no.
Yeah.
So it has its place. It has its place. But my only comment about Homage watches is sometimes there's some watches, some watch companies which just live on that. Okay, that's all that they make. As in they can't make anything that is that hasn't been done already. Okay, but I guess at one point every watch will be an homage of sorts, because there's only a certain limit to the number of possible designs, right?
Yes.
So yeah, homages are okay. It's inevitable at one point.
Art, what do you think?
For me, no, I'm fine with homage watches. So for me, it's a way to encourage people to get into mechanical watches. Now it's a time that a lot of people just have an Apple Watch or look at their iPhone or their phone for the time. And if the inspiration for these watches is cost prohibitive for some people, and this is the time, this is the way for them to get into the hobby, then I think that should be something that we should welcome.
Francis, can I just add one more thing about
Please
the
do.
homage watches before you turn the mic to Dino?
Please do.
Actually, one of the homage watches that I've been looking at recently is Steinhardt has an homage to the McQueen, the
Mhm.
McQueen Explorer. It's something I'm interested in because, well, one, it has sapphire crystal. It's a little bit bigger. Actually, I don't even know the price yet, so I haven't gotten to that point. I've just been looking at photos and whatnot. Because it's really a rare piece. It's a beautiful piece. And the last I checked, it was already at like 1.5 million, I think,
Wow.
for a good one.
Yeah.
No. So if you don't have 1.5 million, you might want to consider a Steinhardt. At least it doesn't say Rolex. No? It's a Steinhardt. You just change it a little bit, but for the most part, it looks like the McQueen. Thanks.
Thanks, Fred. How about Dino?
Yeah, I have nothing against Homage watches actually. Since as everybody has said, it's especially for people who can't afford, those. Actually, most of us can't afford the high end watches, na talaga. And let's be real, as in, and you want to get the taste of that, how it would look, how it would feel, because it looks, the main reason you're coveting that watch is because it looks really great. And if somebody can approximate that look, without actually being a fake, because there's a line between faking it and it's all debatable and in all forums so. Pero if we're gonna talk about homages trying to pay tribute to the original design, then go for it. Yeah, as Fed said, you can't buy that watch. Might as well get an homage watch so that you can enjoy that same feel, or approximate that feel.
See, I did want to jump into this in particular because it happens to be perfect for the watch I'm wearing, both in terms of the homage and in terms of the reissue. So what I'm wearing right now is a reissue of Timex for their 1979 Q quartz watch, and obviously, as you guys can see, it's pretty much directly inspired by the GMT Master Pepsi bezel. So it actually ticks both boxes in the sense that it is both an homage and a reissue. So it's a reissue of an homage watch to another watch. And I think most of the guys said, as long as there is a bit of a distinction between the homage and the original, so that you can tell that it's not exactly the same thing. But also there's lots of homages for the Submariner, lots of homages for Daytona and things like that. So just choose an homage watch that is of good quality, right? So I would look for brands like we talked about Steinhardt, for example. At least it's built well. You can always pick and choose the brands where you think that the quality and the fit and finish works. So that's my personal take on it. Obviously, I'm wearing something that's, again, both a reissue and an homage. So I guess we've come to a pretty decent consensus on that one. So actually, there's a couple of guys who are asking specifically. Let me see. Sorry, here we are. There was here a couple of guys asking about what we think about smartwatches. And actually, so aside from smartwatches, if we consider them as quote unquote real watches, and what do you think about dual wristing, a smartwatch on one wrist and the there you go. So Dino, go for it, Dino. You got this one covered.
What was the question about it? Double fisting it?
Yeah. Double wrist naman, double wrist tape. Double wrist.
Okay, sorry.
PG. So what do you feel about smartwatches? Do you consider them quote unquote real watches? And what do you think about double wristing?
Double wristing. No, I mean, it's a watch. It can tell time. At the very core of it, it tells time. It's just people who are nitpicking that, looking down on digital watches, for no reason. It serves a purpose. A mechanical watch can tell you your BP and how many steps you're on. So it's serving a purpose. A mechanical watch can tell you your schedule, can vibrate when you have a call. So it's something that I can't hate on because I actually use one. So it's useful on days that you can't wear your mechanical watch since you love it so much. You can't take it to the beach since it's a nice diver. So so you can take your smartwatch and swim on the beach without worrying. So They're two different kinds of watches that you can enjoy, and even at the same time, you know, it may look stupid, but I don't care. I don't really care. Why should you care
No,
about?
but we have Schwarzkopf and is it Guevara? That would
Yeah,
Yeah,
double
Yeah,
watch,
Schwarzkopf was one
double
of the
double,
watch.
OGs of that.
double.
OG,
Yeah, yeah.
left and right. It was
Well,
A Rolex and the G-Shock, or a Rolex and the
Seiko yata.
Seiko.
No,
Yeah, that's right. Rolex
I
and
think it was
Seiko.
Guevara on the same wrist too, but
Mm.
Schwarzkopf on two
Yeah,
wrists.
different. Yeah, different wrists. Different wrists.
I
and
shared recently, Francis, the Wena. I don't know if Dino or Archie or Ferds has anything to say about that. I mean, I don't wear a digital watch. Sorry, smartwatch because I'm low tech. But when I saw that Wena bracelet with the smartwatch, I thought that was really cool.
oh yeah,
Well, actually, can I ask Ferds to jump in, because he actually wears in Apple watches his daily. How do you feel about the Apple watches as your daily main go-to watch, Ferds?
Well, definitely, I love it. I love wearing it. As Tina said, the health, the fitness stuff, I really enjoy. Um, as one of the Husky boys of, well, not this panel of Filipino time boys, right? Um, I love being able to check how many calories I burned, how many steps I've taken. I don't know if anybody can see, but I am also double watching tonight, like Dino. So I've got on the Apple Watch on my right, and I've got the Marine Master, like Dino, on my left.
Wow, matching pair.
Yeah, matching pair. But yeah, I think that they do definitely serve a purpose. I think that all of us are getting to that age where we have to be a bit more health conscious as well, right? So yeah, I love it. I love using it. It is my daily watch. As for the Wena that Fed talked about, I think it's a Sony product, right? The Wena band. I haven't really looked into it, but when he posted it in the community, I was very curious. I guess I got to see more reviews on it and see what watches it would fit, because that might solve the problem that we have of dual watching or double wristing or whatever you want to call it.
yeah. Also, in addition to that, I think like Tag, I think is using smartwatches now. They're making smartwatches to as a to coax younger people to get into watches and eventually transition to mechanical watches. So I guess it's a good marketing ploy for watchmakers to use the trend, to get people interested in mechanical watches.
Speaking of Tag Heuer, they even released a Super Mario edition, I believe, of their smartwatch. So that one, actually, I'm intentionally not showing my son because I might have a problem with that soon.
Japs, thanks for the correction. You're right. It's Fidel Castro. Thanks for the correction.
If anyone else want to jump in on the smartwatch conversation? Yeah, Paul, please go.
I don't have a smartwatch. I don't use it. I think having a cell phone is already enough. Although there are some functions on a smartwatch which can be useful for certain people, like your heart rate, your BP, tracking your count, tracking your steps, and your calories. But I don't see myself there just yet on the fitness side. And for the other features of a smartwatch, um, I I'm not really inclined to go there because there are times when I just want to be disconnected from technology. So having it there more conveniently on your wrist, it's like as a distraction. It has its cons for me. Okay, so but probably when I get older and I start needing to know my heart rate all the time, or for it to monitor these things, I might transition to that. Okay, but uh,
But Paul, you have that Seiko, what do you call it? The one for the doctors that you can calculate
Pulsations. The pulsations.
the pulsations. Yeah.
yeah, it's something that you can, yeah, but you can't get your blood pressure with that, and you can't count your steps. So it's no, it really depends on the person. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think some people uh, wear it because, hey, yeah, I can see my messages as they come in, but I sometimes come to the point when I don't even want to see my messages anymore during the day.
Mm.
So for
Unless you're chatting with him about watches, Paul will answer quickly. Yeah, he will. He's fast.
Well, switching completely the opposite direction. And actually, Paul, maybe I'll start with you because I know you have a really great eye for dials in particular. Kevin Brian Yao asks, what do you guys think about our markers, whether stick, Arabic, or Roman numerals, and the legibility? And I would, and for me, I would add both the legibility and I suppose just the personal preference of the beauty of it. Or are there any kind of specific things you look into look for in the markers? Paul, I'll start with you.
uh, not really. Different different types of combinations have different results. Okay, sometimes there are some watches without any indices whatsoever, and and they still function well enough. You can still tell what time it is, right? So, uh, it as long as it's done well, it's fine. As long as it serves the purpose, it's fine. Uh, so I don't really have any major qualms about different designs. It's actually good. It's good. It's good for collectors because we have choices. It can cater to everyone.
Do you wanna jump in on that? No, what do you have any preference? Do you have any preference for markers or maybe not just necessarily markers, but maybe some details on the dial that you look for?
Mm, it's hard kasi to just pin it down on, just markers, whether they're sticks, whether there's dots or Roman numerals, or it depends. These are design elements that watch designers use, and it's like a puzzle, or a painting, and these are your paints, these are your elements, and sometimes you have to find that right combination. Maybe a stick would work better for this dial, or Roman numeral would be better, or none at all, if that's what the look you're going for. So to discriminate against any kind of design element would be, I don't know. It's hard to, unless the whole thing, you judge the whole thing, not because of the elements there, because that's what you see at the final product. So it could be like at the end of is their design really, does it work? Is it cluttered? Is it too much? Or is it just right? And these can be like any combinations. It can have a stick, it can have a dot, it can have and it has 3 liners, 4 liners, that's three dials inside, it all depends. So we can't really say anything about those design elements being right or wrong.
What about you, Arch? What do you think, Archie?
Yeah. For me, it should really all just come together to 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 have a nice watch at the end of the day. And for me, it's just a pet peeve for me. I like my dress watches to not have any loop on the markers, and for the sports watches to have really good loom. So that's my take on it.
Well, we're actually running quite long. I don't want. I'm actually quite grateful because we've had a lot of questions. I think there's like 30 or more questions still, but I don't think we can get to everything. Let's go for like maybe 2 or 3 last ones before we wrap up this segment, so that our panel doesn't have to stay up too late. Kaya naman sa kanila. But there's an interesting question here that's from here we go, from Thomas Cueva. So he asks, how do you guys feel about wearing your most precious watches, whether being precious, whether it's the material, the price, the sentimental value, all that stuff. How do you feel about wearing it outside? And do you ever fear, nakakatakot ba whenever something happens, pagdabangga or something like that? He says, I notice I'm more careful with his watches that's not his SKX, especially if it's a domed or acrylic crystal. So do you guys have any of those, like, oh no, I gotta take care of this watch and not bang it around? I think Mr. Borromeo would have a lot to say about this.
Anytime you bang your watch, it's painful. But I think it's really unavoidable. I want to go back to what Archie said about the word precious. Because sometimes, well, and I hate to be a wet blanket, but life is short, so you better wear that watch that you really like. If you don't really like, if you don't wear it, maybe you don't like it. I don't know, but yeah, I guess there would be one or two watches in your collection that you might not wear. Like for myself, um, apart from maybe the Seamaster, there's some watches, the ones from my lolo, the heirlooms. I don't wear them. I just look at them. I guess because that's more of sentimental value. But as far as a precious watch is concerned, I think you really have to wear it. Maybe I draw the line if you're traveling,
Mm.
because if you're traveling, I think your first responsibility is your companions, and then maybe your passports. so, so if you have to worry about putting your watch in the X-ray and things like that, and I've heard many horror stories about that. That they forgot it in the tray and things like that. So more than it being stolen, I think it's more of that. That because you're doing something and you want to concentrate. So maybe that's the time I would not wear the precious watch. But you should really wear it. You should wear that watch.
Dina, what do you think? Is there a line that you draw which watch that which you would wear to certain situations or not?
Oh, yeah, yeah. When you have to choose where you want to wear your watches, and you don't go to Divisoria and wear your your Swiss or your Rolex. It's common sense. Yeah, you find time where they're appropriate to wear. So, but the important thing is, I will echo Fed. Then is you really have to wear it. Whether it has, you hit it on. I've had several expensive watches that actually, parang when I saw it, it's like, oh my gosh, or yung crystal, oh, may tama. But then again, it's your watch. That's part of wearing it. That's part of enjoying the watch. Enjoy it. It's part of it's the story. It's the story of the watch. And when you give it to, if ever you pass it on to somebody else, it will feel more valuable to her, because this is like, if ever they're part of that moment that yung watch mo tumama somewhere and they were there to witness it. That could have been a story for them. This is the time when my dad was like riding the car and then he slammed this, and then look at it now. It can be add more value to the watch, more than you would think, because right now you'd think na para may tama siya, may galos, or may um wala na siyang value. Yeah, if you're gonna sell it,
Mhm.
yeah, it kind of devalues it, But for you, it's part of it. That what they call battle scars. It's goes hand in hand with owning a watch. So
Or
don't
have
worry.
three. Have three and just wear
Oh,
one.
ayan, ganon. Para
Just
pag
keep the other two.
oh, beat
Yeah.
up the one. The one lang.
Yeah.
Tapos iba, tago mo na.
Oh, di ba? Simple lang, di ba?
Ganun nga, tama
Let's
nga.
keep it
Tama nga.
simple.
Oo nga, ikaw talaga, talino.
Paul, has there ever been a watch that you felt that you couldn't wear outside, or you would have to wait for just the right occasion for you to wear?
A lot. There are a lot of watches that way, because well, with damages on watches, it's not a matter of if it's gonna happen, but when it's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen as long as you use it. Because I mean, like, accidents do happen. You hit the doorknob, you hit the table, or things like that, right? It's bound to happen. Uh, the way I look at this is, uh, I have this preference of buying used watches.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Mm.
when they're too perfect, okay, when I buy a brand new watch, I end up not wearing them. So they stay in the closet, they stay in the safe, or for whatever. And then come an occasion, if you have two watches, one was that both match the occasion, you tend to wear the one which has already gone through the scratches and everything, and the other one just stays there, so you don't enjoy it in the end. So secondhand watches, yeah, that's the best way not to be careful with your watches, because it already has its character, it already has its marks, so you're not, you end up enjoying it more.
Mhm.
For me, guys, number one, you should wear the appropriate watch to the occasion. And number two, if I have like a new watch and that's that doesn't have any scratch,
Archie, so no rubber straps with suits, no?
it's a matter of preference, boss.
Okay.
I won't debate on the fashion side. But for me, if I have a really clean watch, I tend to want to wear it more because the first scratch is the one that hurts, and the second, third, you won't feel a thing already. So that's my take on it. And like for my watches, I don't know if anyone else shares this. I don't know this thing, but I remember the first scratch where I got that first scratch for every watch. Like for this watch, I hit this doorknob. I still remember the moment, the place, the door, the glass that where I hit it, which hit the watch, and then I remember the story to every scratch. So that's how.
So actually, Art, because actually that's a really interesting because Janice Marinan actually asked this one, and he asked, will battle scars increase or decrease the watch's value? Obviously, like I think Dino mentioned earlier, that it'll decrease its resale value, but does it increase its value to you? That, like you said, you remember every single first scratch or first hit. Does it increase the value to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, the more I use the watch, the more the more the more endeared it becomes for me. Like, for example, the speed my Speedmaster, pre-COVID, that's what I will always wear when I have to fly somewhere, because I would time my flight, and that's just something I do with the Speedy. And then I'd be amused if the flight was as published. If it was a 4-hour flight, and then it registers the same 4 hours on my Speedmaster. I'd be really happy at the end of the flight. So that's just my thing when I fly.
Okay, guys, you heard it. Archie uses his watches, okay? He really uses them what they're designed for. Maybe someday Archie will tell us about it when he flies to the moon.
With the Speedmaster.
Yeah. Archie, kami yung exclusive, ah.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's your take on scratches on the crystal? Is it a big thing? I mean, if it's how big a scratch before it really bothers you?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Can I jump in on this one? I know I'm not really on the panel and the moderator, but because I had the pleasure, and I had the pleasure of owning a moon watch with a Heslite crystal, and as Paul said, the biggest mistake was selling it. So I never really bothered. It never bothered me so much if the watch was scratched, because obviously the Heslite they scratch up quite quickly. But I guess it would only come to a point where I felt like the functionality of the watch was already was compromised. Like if I thought that the scratch was quite deep and maybe it would cause it to shatter, or if it was scratched up enough that the legibility suffered, especially in low light conditions, maybe I would consider it. But my personal opinion that is, if I put the scratch on there, I leave it. If I bought a secondhand watch with a scratch on there, I will seriously consider replacing with an original part. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I think Archie wants to add to that one.
No, for me, I think along the same lines, if it affects the integrity of the watch, like if water can seep in, diba? that calls for a replacement. But if it's something that's just a couple of scratches, I can live with that.
Anyone else want to jump in on that one? All right. Well,
I want to hear what Fed has to say about scratches.
No scratches, please. On the crystal, at least. I mean, on the case, on the buckles, on the clasp, on the bracelet, anywhere else except on the crystal. So that's why I don't have any of those Hesalites. And fortunately, Dino, I haven't damaged any hardlex crystals. So I think I'm quite careful naman when it comes to that.
Kailan ba gagawa ng mga crystals ang Agila Auto Glass? Yung mga ganun, mga Hesalite, yung mga ganun. Pwede na rin naman.
That would be the day.
Gawan niyo naman kami. Oh.
R&D department. Si Japs in the chat, he said if it compromises visibility, then polywatch is the key. So that's a good tip, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, polywatch is fantastic talaga. I think polywatch and Cape Cod are gifts to us watch collectors.
Pag hindi mo bra polywatch, tiyak ka na lang.
Yeah.
Why? Bakit hindi siya nag-work?
All right, well, we'll say the last question because we're actually running quite over time right now. But well, several guys were basically asking, what is the Grail watch? I guess everyone likes to talk about the Grail watch. It's the one that
Francis, why don't you go first?
Someday. Sorry?
Why don't you go first?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I have three. Ito naman tayo sa tatlo. So I have three, and it's three because it's a set. I've always said before, even in our videos, that I am a car guy first and a watch guy a close second. So for me, it's a combination of vintage Hoyers. It's the Monza from 1976, I believe. The McQueen Monaco, of course, and the Jochen Otavia. Those are the three for me.
I call bullshit. Vacheron Constant 10.
Okay. So, well, that's the other. See, dami kasi masyado. Okay, but otherwise, the Grail would be yes, the Vacheron Historic American. And again, I am a car guy, and from what I can tell from the research I've done, it's quite possibly the first ever watch designed specifically for driving. So the reason why it's kind of cut to the side a little bit is specifically for that. So that would be mine. How about you, Fed? Since you asked me first, you're next.
I already answered it earlier. It's still the Everose Daytona.
Still the Everose. All right. Dino?
More of like a dream watch. Langa one.
Very nice. Yeah. How about you, Arch? I'm sure people will be
Pang presidente talaga, no?
Dream nga lang.
For me, boss, my Grail is the Vacheron Overseas Perpetual Calendar Ultra Thin Open Work with the one that was recently released. I initially placed an order, but then the boutique that my supplier was talking to, initially they said that they had an allocation, and then like after 3 days they said that they no longer have the allocation.
Oh no!
Did you send them a love letter?
No, so like it was all up in the air. So I didn't push through with the order because it wasn't guaranteed. So
we're rooting for you, Archie. We're rooting for you.
We're rooting for you to post it on the community. All right, Paul. What about you? What's yours?
Grail watch, something that I'd probably never have. It's I think it's called Striking Time.
What's this one?
It's by A Lang, the one with the flipping hour and minutes.
Okay, all right.
Was it the hour and they flip like yung mga alarm clocks?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. It's flipping through the.
The Germans have it. The Germans are in the lead.
What about you, Dino? What's your holy grail?
I said either the Langa one or.
Oh, sorry, yes, the Langa one. I'm
Pero
sorry.
if not, siguro mga Pano Reserve, Glashut.
So we have a couple of Langes, a couple of Vacherons, and and a Rolex. So Yeah, that those are, and someone said the datograph. That's Ferg's that's his for his dream watch. So yeah, the datograph.
See, the Germans have it, Francis. The Germans have it.
The Germans.
Yeah,
The
the
Germans are
Germans.
coming. All right, so guys, I'm really sorry we couldn't answer all of your questions, but we're definitely going to save the questions. We're going to put them aside, and we'll use these hopefully for future content, and try to get through some of the questions, put them together, and maybe even have some of the panel or some other guests hop on the video and really do a deep dive in some of your questions. So thank you so much for all the questions. Thank you so much for your participation. And now I think this is one of the things that everyone's waiting for. We have a raffle. So I want to turn over the mic to our the one young host, Giancarlo Borromeo.
All right, let's get started.
All right. So sorry, let me jump in. Sorry, John, one sec. All right.
Okay, so our first set of
Nalo kagad si Archie.
prizes. Our first set of prizes are courtesy of Aguila Autoglass. You will be able to get their 69th anniversary shirt. And of course, feel free to check out the following links for their social media. Who is it? Said it? Okay, of course, the one and only Sir Win Gabriel. Are you here? Please leave a message in the chat room if you are present. Are you present, Sir Win Gabriel? Please leave a message in the chat. Okay, again, Sir Win Gabriel, are you here?
Baka kausap ni Archie ah. Archie, kausap mo ba?
Nagbebentahan sila.
Again, Sir Win, are you here? Claim your prize. Last chance, please leave a message in the chat. If not, we'll have to respin.
Baka he wants to win the clock. Paano ba yun?
Wala na.
Wala na.
Wait for first
Okay.
prize.
May auction
Sorry.
ata ngayon eh.
Yeah.
Nagbabantay
You
sa
lose.
auction.
All right.
So we'll have a respin. Okay, Jad Santos, if you're here, please leave a message in the chat box. Again, Jad Santos, are you here? Jad Santos. No? Jad Santos, final call. Okay, I guess we have to respin. Okay. Spam, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Is this Alandoni? Are you here? Please leave a message in the chat. If you're here, spam. Spam Halandoni, if I'm pronouncing correctly. Last call, spam. Are you here? Please leave a message in the chat. No? Okay. Okay, Gemwell, are you here? Gemwell, are you here? Please leave a message in the chat. Okay, so present. Congratulations. All right, so moving on. Okay, so now courtesy of Seiko Watch PH, we have some of their memorabilia. So we have the jugs and the cap. Feel free to check out the following links on their social media and website. And it goes to Janice. Janice, are you here? Please leave a message in the chat box. Janice? Present. Okay, congratulations. Okay, moving on. Now we, courtesy of Royal Trinity Watches, you can see through the photo, their straps. Feel free to check out their social media for more.
I think this one we might end up we might end up
Donate.
yeah, we might end up reassigning this one. For those that don't know, Johan is the he's the owner of Royal Trinity Watches. He graciously sent these straps and cases to for raffle. So I'm pretty sure Johan would like someone else to have these.
All right, so respinning. Let's see who the lucky winner is. Okay, so Ryan Cabreza, are you here? Please leave a message in the chat. Present. Okay, congratulations. Okay, again, more shirts from Aguila Autoglass. Okay, Grego Ramos, are you here? Grego Ramos, are you in the chat? Grego Ramos. Last chance, Grego Ramos. Please leave a message in the chat. Going once, going twice. Sorry. So next, respin. Okay, KBN Enriquez, are you here? KBN Enriquez, are you here? Please leave a message in the chat. KBN Enriquez, are you present? No? Okay, I guess we have to respin. Okay, Kevin Bautista, are you here? Kevin Bautista, please leave a message in the chat. Kevin Bautista. Last call for Kevin Bautista. Please leave a message in the chat. Okay, I guess we have to respin. Okay, Grail Ideal. Grail Ideal, are you here? Grail, are you here? Grail, last call. Okay, respin. Okay, Jerome Cruz, are you here? Present. Okay, congratulations. Okay, again, prizes from Seiko PH. Let's see who gets it. Carlos Salditos, are you here? Are you present? Carlos Salditos? Okay, present. Congratulations. Now we have umbrellas coming from Auto Performance PH. Please feel free to check out their links in social media.
I want that. It can stop the rain.
Okay, our winner is Peter Ketulio. Are you here? Present. Congratulations on your prize. Okay, more shirts. JP Belaro, are you here? JP Belaro, present. Congratulations. Okay, and now, courtesy of Time Check PH, we have gift certificates. So for those that don't know, they are a service center. So yes, feel free to check out the following links to know more. Okay, from the panel, congratulations. Okay, more prizes from Seiko Philippines. Let's see who gets it. Okay, Chot Camacho, are you here? Chot Camacho, please leave a message in the chat. Chot Camacho. Okay, present. Congratulations. Moving on. Okay, Edward Kirby, are you here? Edward Kirby, are you present? Please leave a message in the chat. Edward Kirby. Last call for Edward Kirby. Okay, respin, please. Okay, Carl Abanto, are you here? Carl Christian G. Abanto. Congratulations. Okay, more from Royal Trinity. Okay, Jello Navarro, are you here? Jello Navarro. Jello Navarro. Are you here? Please acknowledge. Okay, present. Congratulations. Another gift certificate from Time Check PH. Okay, J Labrador, are you here? J Labrador, please. Are you present? Present. Congratulations. Let's see who our next winner is for the Aguila Autoglass shirts. Thomas Cueva, are you here? Thomas Cueva. Please acknowledge through the chat box. Okay, present. Congratulations on your prize. Okay, here's a big one. From Seiko Clocks PH, one of the most famous and iconic, their marathon runner mini clock. So let's see who gets it.
We have 5 of these, so we'll spin 5 times.
All right. Okay, Charlie Gao, are you here? Charlie Gao. Charlie. Okay, congratulations, Charlie Gao. The second one will be going to Theodore Tepeng. Are you here? Theodore Tepeng, are you here? Congratulations. You just won yourself a clock.
Limited edition clock.
Yes. Okay, next we have Jamie Kapochan. Are you here? Jamie? Okay, congratulations. Next. Daniel Perez, are you here? Daniel Joseph Perez. Daniel Perez, are you here? Daniel Perez, please acknowledge to the chat if you are here. Okay. Going once, Daniel Perez.
I think that's
Going
Dane from
twice.
Seiko. So I think you can respin.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Let's respin then. 2 more, right?
All
2
right.
more.
Yes, this is the fourth. Okay, Dino De Leon, are you here? Okay, congratulations. Okay, and our last clock goes to Ruben Alcantara. Are you here? Ruben Alcantara? Okay, so congratulations.
Nice one, Mackie.
Congratulations to all the winners.
All right. So thanks everyone. Some final words from again our co-host and co-founder Ferds Aguila.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for joining. Congratulations to all the raffle winners, especially the guys that got those Seiko clocks. Those are numbered limited clocks, so good job. Before we go though, before we end tonight, can we just turn on all our videos and let's take a class picture? So please turn on your videos.
Here, let's sorry, let's we have to allow everyone to turn the videos.
Oh, okay. Thank
Sorry.
you, thank you.
Let me. So everyone, please turn on your video, and then we will get you guys with the video on. Sorry.
Chris, sorry you didn't win the shirt. I'll message you.
All right, can you guys try sharing your videos now to see if it works? Please let me know if it doesn't work.
Extra medium Shannon sabi ni Fed.
All right, let me try it again. So, and apologies if it's here you go. We're gonna promote. There. That should slowly you'll start to see yourselves.
Thanks, Cap. Thanks for joining us. Chris, relax lang.
Guys, I believe once you see a message that you've been promoted to panelist, you should be able to unmute yourself. So feel free to join in the chat, like we did last time. This is going to be basically just an open hangout discussion for those who want to hang out. But first, let's get this class picture out of the way, and show our beautiful faces.
Yeah, definitely keep your shots coming. And for the guys that won the raffle prizes, we'd love pictures of you guys with the prizes as well.
Yeah, please post in the community.
Oh, for those that won the raffle prizes, I hope you guys gave us your addresses so we can send the prize over. If not, we'll probably give you guys a message on Facebook or something, or via email. I guess while Francis is trying to figure out how to do this, I'd like to thank our sponsors once again. Thank you very much to Seiko Philippines, and congratulations on their new site, Seiko Clocks Philippines. Thank you to Royal Trinity. Thank you as well to Time Check PH, Aguila Auto Glass, and Auto Performance.
All right, so everyone should see you're being promoted to panelist. That'll allow you to turn on your video. Hi, Japs. Hi, Jay. Good to see you guys. Some old friends from our earlier episodes.
Jay, congrats! You won in the raffle.
All right, just a couple of more.
Okay, how about a B-roll first?
Okay.
So if you guys watch and Albert's probably there somewhere lurking. If you guys watch the video I had with Jay Labrador, and I said connoisseur instead of connoisseur, it was because the whole time while we were setting up and whatever, Albert and I kept talking about Evian and Badwa, the water. So I would say, no, bad ito, and we were making jokes about it, and then shit, it got stuck. So as soon as we started recording, instead of connoisseur, I said connoisseur. Damn it. Of course, Albert really enjoyed that.
All right, guys. So we're gonna have to do this in a couple of batches because each screen only fits like 25
Hey,
people.
Jay.
So all right, we're gonna do this a couple of times. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Smile, everyone. All right. And then let's go with batch 2. Sorry, guys, I'm having a hard time with this.
What's that? Do you know what a clock? A desk clock?
All right, guys, one more. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna try this one just to make sure everyone is here. Just to make sure. 2 more. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. And promise, last na to. Promise, last na. Totoo na, last na. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys,
Thank
for
you.
coming. Thanks to our panelists, Dino, Paul, Archie.
The
Salamat,
real
salamat.
Archie luxury.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Salamat,
Thanks
everyone.
for
Isang
having us.
episode na
Guys.
puro Archie lang.
Hey, Robbie.
Season
see you.
1.
So guys, sorry we couldn't answer all the questions kanina, but well, if the guys are here, and everyone is welcome to join in the discussion, feel free to talk amongst yourselves about watches. This is our time.
Francis, can we see everybody? Is that possible?
Let me see.
Maybe it'll
Yun.
fit in
So,
one page.
Everybody's
right?
here.
So I guess just switch over to the gallery view, I guess, for everyone, just to be just so you can see everyone. You'll see page 1, page 2. You can switch around.
Wow.
Congrats to the guys that got the clocks. Buti pa kayo, kami wala. No, but congrats, guys. Congrats. Very happy.
Maki, pababawi ko yan. Sabi ko, hey Ed, bawi ko sa'yo.
Thank you for the clocks, though.
Well, we're like we said earlier, we're gonna try to do our best to be a bit more active, to get more content out for you guys. Thanks again for everyone that gave your suggestions, gave feedback in the surveys. We'll definitely try to put all the suggestions, all of your the things you're looking for. We'll try to put them all together and come up with some stuff for you guys, and hopefully more interactive stuff also. So. It looks like that's something that we're really looking forward to having more of. So,
Archie,
huwag na kayo magkayaan.
Archie,
Go
sinong favorite model mo?
Boss, are we still recording?
But I'm not. But
We're
but
still
I
live.
don't
I think we're still live.
Yeah, we're